Hello and welcome to Cornish Walking Trails. Welcome to the village where nobody lives.
Seems like Nebogissy.
Why are we saying nobody lives there? Well, according to the last census, there was 9 or 10 people living there, but we're aware that the last house that was lived in has now been sold and its function has changed. So we don't think there is anybody living here anymore, making it an abandoned, lifeless village. Is this village abandoned? Does nobody live here at all? Let's go and find out. See if we can answer the question. Hello everybody.
Hello.
Good morning. Where are we, Andrew?
We are in the most magical place in Cornwall. I love coming here. We're down on the Helford. We're on a beautiful beach. It's called Grebe Beach, and in the height of summer, it's actually quite popular down here, isn't it?
Hidden gem, almost.
Beginning of December, which we are at the moment, it's lovely and quiet. It's the way we like it.
So why are we here? Well, let me read this out to you. This was actually left as a comment on our Land's End video when we walked from Sennan to Land's End recently. It's from Terence. Hello Terence. Terence23. And he said, so that's why Sennan has no soul, like Mousehole. Now we did walk around Sennan a little bit, didn't we? And showed some of the like accommodation and the cafe, the RNLI building. And we did comment at the time that in winter it's really quiet, didn't we?
Yeah, and Soulless, that's quite powerful, isn't it? It's got us thinking really, didn't it?
It did get us thinking, because to us, that's normal. So we mentioned in that Land's End video how Sennan Cove really has become a centre for holidays. Most of the cottages, I think last time we spoke to somebody down there, they said 94% of the properties in Sennan Cove itself have been devoted to holiday homes, and that the actual long-term resident population lives in Sennan village up on the hill, and that's quite common in most Cornish villages. You take Poldark or Port Scatho or anywhere you can think of, Mousehole for instance, they're all examples of this, and to us it's completely normal. But what made us think about that comment was the word soulless, and another little village came to mind. It's near here, it's on the Helford, and it has just 18 cottages in it, and to our knowledge nearly all of them now are holiday homes, and to us this epitomises soulless.
We've scoured the coast and we've gone all the way around the coast, because it's usually around the coast where you find this has happened, isn't it? And I think we've settled on one place in Cornwall where, to the best of our knowledge, nobody now lives there.
Full-time, permanent, local resident.
Yes.
I find that staggering.
So come on, let's go and find it.
Yeah, come on then. So a village where nobody lives.
Yeah.
You'd think that there was something wrong with it.
You would, wouldn't you? It's like, you know, maybe...
contamination.
Yes.
Like Chernobyl.
That's a good one. Or like maybe somewhere that's been subject to coastal erosion, for example. There's a place in Devon, I think, called Hall Sands.
Yeah.
Where that happened, wasn't it? Where it was a community, and because of nature...
but that's become a tourist destination in its own right. Even has its own TripAdvisor page, and you can rate it.
Really?
It's an abandoned village.
Gosh, okay.
Yeah.
And there's one or two places that they've been taken over by the military, isn't there? You
know,
so,
yes.
like as
because they're falling a firing range.
Like yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes it happens because of that, isn't it? But where we're going today, as I said, we think that nobody lives there anymore, but you perhaps wouldn't imagine that.
Because it's so beautiful.
When we get there, yes, because it looks quintessential, perfect, doesn't it?
So market forces has done this to this village, is what we're saying, isn't it?
Over time.
Demand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get there. We keep chatting. We need to get there. So this is Durgan. You'll find Durgan at the bottom of Glen Durgan Gardens, which is owned by the National Trust. No denying that it's absolutely gorgeous here. You've got this fantastic view. The properties are so quaint and quirky, and it is idyllic. village has such tiny, narrow little lanes and so little space for cars that actually traffic isn't welcome here. And they've put a sign up, National Trust put a sign up, residents parking beyond this point only.
So that's residents on holiday is what they're getting at, isn't it?
I don't know, because if there are any people living in the village still, is the National Trust kind of, how much influence and control has the National Trust got of the village? That's a huge question to ask, isn't it? The lack of traffic noise, something that is a bugbear to some people. There's no cars passing through this village. All that you've got really in the summer is a lot of people tipping out from Durgan Gardens. Once owned by the Fox family, Durgan Gardens is famous for its laurel maze. It's now owned and run by the National Trust, who own quite large tracts of land in this area and a number of properties. A lot of these properties were built by the family that owned Durgan, the Fox family. They were Quakers. They built these houses for the people that worked for them. When the estate passed into the National Trust, some of them were still held by the family. And now, these days, the National Trust rents them out as holiday homes. So how has this happened? How has everybody in the village moved out? The properties are turned over to holiday accommodation and the soul has left the village. How has it happened? Well, it's happened gradually.
I've got something to tell you.
Okay.
I think you might be, you might go, gosh, I never knew that.
Oh, good.
Okay, so this property here,
yes,
Beach Cottage, it's one behind you, if we turn around.
Yes.
Beach Cottage.
Yes.
Lovely name, isn't it? I know who lived in there in 1912.
Who?
It's a chap called Norman Downing.
Yes.
He was only 24. Died in the First World War.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
that's
there's a little
sad.
sign about it there. It talks about the Christmas party that happened in the village in 1912. And 3 of the young men who were at that Christmas party in 1912 never came back from the First World War.
Oh.
So it was a community, wasn't it? People lived here.
Yes. So the house over there, I can't point that one, is the old schoolhouse, and it doubled up as a village hall. And we've got this beautiful account of VE Day, was it? Victory Day?
Yeah,
in 1945.
45 was VE Day.
We'll get the little thing out and read it to you in a minute. So this is taken from the BBC. It's World War II People's War, an archive of World War II memories, and it's all been compiled by the BBC, and we were both right. So it covers both June 1944, describing a childhood memory of watching bombers coming up this river, because the next cove over was where the landings, the D-Day landings, set off at Omaha Beach. So that's the 1944 bit, but there is a celebration here in 1945, a couple of days after VE Day. They had their own celebration on the 8th of May. It was held in the schoolroom on the quay, which was our large village hall with its enormous open fireplace for roaring log fires. The children were sent to Durgan Gardens, and nearby hedges were picked of flowers and shrubs, and they went from door to door begging for little vases like jam jars that they could put this in and decorate the hall. The teenagers created decorations both inside and outside on the quay. The menfolk rearranged the furniture, and the housewives were busy making cakes, etc., with the meagre rations they had been storing for the occasion. And there was one family called the Sanford family who actually had transport. They had a vehicle, and they'd driven to Helston for the Flora Day on the Saturday and returned with yards of red, white and blue ribbon for the girls' hair. So the party was held in the afternoon, and it spilled out onto the quay, culminating with a bonfire and fireworks on the beach. And they said, we had much to celebrate. All the men who served in the forces returned safely, not like the First World War, when 3 village lads didn't come home from France. So it gives you an idea that this place was full of vibrancy. It had a community. They were able to get together and have a party and a celebration, and everybody did their bit. And it just sounds so wonderful. What a contrast to today. Now let's have a wander around the village and figure out if anybody actually still lives here. This property here, called Cliffside, a few years ago it was sold. It's now, as you can see by the name plaque, it's a holiday home. And before that it used to have buoys hanging over the wall, there used to be washing at the windows. It wasn't as pretty, it was lived in. It had all of the defects of normal life. Bins, washing, and detritus of human living in a place. You know, the thing that is now devoid, that has been sterilised out of that house. To the best of our knowledge, that is the last one that was lived in. So unless one of these has been sold and is no longer a holiday home, there's nobody that lives here. These three you can rent, we know that much. This one, the old schoolhouse, that is a holiday home. Somebody's obviously rented it this week. The one opposite is also a holiday home called Beach Cottage and Key Cottage. There's two in this building, both owned by the National Trust and both rentable as holiday homes. Another one there. What have you discovered?
There's one property there. It's called Rashley Cottage.
Yes.
I know they've got some maybe Christmas decorations.
Perhaps that's lived in.
Perhaps that does. But it could be a second home, couldn't it?
Oh, okay.
Could be they've come down for Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah, that one behind you is definitely a holiday cottage.
This tiny one here.
Yeah, it's got no personal effects in it at all. Not so sure about this one. We can't figure this one out, can we?
I like this one.
You like this
Lovely
one?
little window.
Yeah. Full of condensation at the windows though, isn't it?
Bench they've got there as well.
I know, it's extraordinary, isn't it?
Little wheel on it, hasn't it?
Yes. Cheyenne Dower. I don't know about that one. There's no key box. Not been ultra done up, and there's a window open.
Doesn't look as if there's anyone at home though, is there?
No, I'd agree.
Yeah, this one here. There's definitely a string of Christmas lights up
Oh, and
there.
a window open. So there's somebody in there.
Blown our theory then.
Perhaps this isn't a devoid village. Perhaps, well, I like that. Don't you think that's a good news? Bit of good news.
It won't be long though. It won't be long till there's nobody here.
You're clinging on to it, aren't you?
that.
Let's go and have another look. I would love to think there's people actually living here on a daily basis, all year round, 365 days a year. And then it's not completely empty. I do know that these three are holiday homes.
You know what this is, Sarah, don't you?
What's this?
This is paradise.
Really?
Paradise for burglars. Can't say that, can I?
No.
Don't put that in the video.
Yeah, key box on that front door there, and on that front door. These three are definitely holiday homes, and we know that because it's got a plaque on the wall and we've seen them online. Believe it or not, it's harder than you think to find out which ones are lived in and which ones are holiday homes from looking online. You'd think you'd be able to type in Durgan accommodation. Doesn't work that way. So here in this gateway is the access for Durgan Gardens, which is owned and run by the National Trust. Up through the valley you'll get to the visitor centre, and I'm not quite sure what this is. Oh, Rose, it looks like garaging for those cottages back there. Do you know what this was? I reckon I know what this was at one time.
Pilchard.
Yes, looks like the ones in St Ives, doesn't it?
Yeah. So this is where they gutted all the fish and put them in barrels and stored them, isn't it? Yeah. Pilchard presses and things like that.
Because the cellar is literally just over there, isn't it? Behind the speedboat. Let's go and have a look at that a minute. Durgan Fish Cellar. So this is owned by the National Trust in the summer. They sell you ice cream from here and cups of coffee. Formerly, it is literally what it says on the tin. It was a fish cellar where the village brought in their catch.
In all seriousness, the only way we could prove this...
I'm going to spend a penny a minute.
You found a toilet?
I have.
Okay, see you in a minute.
So this is really just an excuse to have a little wander around a beautiful Cornish hamlet and try and figure out is there anybody still living here? I'm having great fun looking through windows and being a little bit nosy. It's a bit out of my character to look through windows.
That's terrible, you can't confess to doing that.
Well, they're there. But it does seem as though what we were thinking is pretty much right, that there is very, very few people living here still. So there's 18 properties in the village, and we think that maybe 1, possibly 2.
Yeah, I've seen a maintenance van turn up.
Yeah.
Well, that's clearly because it's probably a holiday
home.
let, isn't it? There's been 1 or 2 people coming and going.
Yeah.
I do wonder whether 1 or 2, because there's one I just spotted coming out of one which is definitely a National Trust holiday van.
Another maintenance guy?
No, I don't think
Oh.
they were on holiday either, so whether out of season they'd maybe let out, I don't know. It might be that they give them to the staff. But then there aren't many staff with National Trust these days, there are many volunteers, aren't they?
That's true, yeah. It's armies of volunteers that keep gardens going and things like that, isn't it?
But you'd expect occasionally to see a cleaner coming and going if they're getting it ready for someone to come and stay, that type of thing. There's going to be people who've got keys, isn't there?
Yes,
But it doesn't feel lived in. There's no dogs barking, is there? There's no children playing,
chattering.
is there?
And it's also the negative things about human life, you know, the rubbish in the streets, the cars parked badly, the washing on the line, you know, it isn't so pretty. It's all gone, hasn't it? It's just not there.
Can't see any Amazon delivery vans.
No! Or traffic, nothing. So this place is all about enticing you to book a holiday, and this is one of the website's sale pitches. Think wild swimming at dawn, stomps across wildflower meadows, beachside evenings stretching out with driftwood fire crackling. The waters of the Helford River are never more than a hop or a skip away when you holiday in the prettiest hamlet in Cornwall. A sandy beach lies on the shore, and just around the corner is Grebe Beach, a quiet, magical pebbly beach. So you're being sold this idyll, this ideal holiday, this perfect place that is going to make you so happy. There is nothing negative about it. It's been Disneyfied, the Disneyfication of Cornwall. Welcome to Cornwall land.
Cornwall land, there we go, yes. Come on in, welcome to Cornwall land.
So is it soulless?
Well, I think out of season, this time of year, it is. It is soulless, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. It's everywhere you would want to come and be, but there's nobody here.
No. So is that your cup of tea? I mean, we live somewhere that's a little bit off the beaten track. We haven't got a lot of neighbours, and that suits us. So that might suit some people. But if you like company, if you like the thought that you can go and tap on somebody's door and say, "Hi, I just need a cup of sugar," it isn't going to be for you, is it? Because more than likely, there won't be anyone there.
I don't take sugar, I'm sweet enough. Sarah, whenever I come to Durgan, it always reminds me of that Guns N' Roses song.
What's that?
Well, I think it's called Paradise City.
Yeah.
But as I like to sing it, take me down to Keybox City where the beach is clean and the cottages are pretty. Oh, won't you please take me down to Durgan? No?
Don't give up your day job, darling.
Okay. Sarah, not only is this a village that nobody lives in,
Yeah.
it's also a village that's got probably the last surviving telephone box that's still a telephone box.
Is it?
Yeah, there's a phone in there, I couldn't believe it.
Oh, wow. Gosh, I'm speechless.
Hello, yes, is that National Trust? Hello there, yeah, it's Andrew from Cornish Walking Trust. I'd like to book Beach Cottage, please, in the summer, in August, please, yeah? 2 weeks. How much? Never gonna happen. That's lovely, old boy bringing his boat in. He's obviously been off doing a bit of fishing there, hasn't he? A shellfish, I would have thought, isn't it? Mussels, oysters, that sort of thing.
Usually down here,
yeah. It's got to be one. Perhaps people are still living here.
Yes.
Perhaps they're not all second homes.
Perhaps they're not.
Perhaps we got it wrong.
Perhaps we are.
Perhaps someone who maybe lives in Durgan will leave a little comment and tell us that we're all wrong.
Yes. I'd love to think there was somebody living here.
It'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I don't know.
You're speechless, aren't
I
you?
am. I didn't think we were going to see a soul today. We haven't seen many people, have we?
Not a soul. Oh, I thought you were having a joke then.
If I was smarter, I would have thought about that.
Ah.
No, yeah, soulless, isn't it? But it's not many people here, is it?
No.
I still think this is a village where nobody lives.
Oh, I hope there is somebody here living full time, and that would really, really knock the socks out of this video, I know. But it'd be great, wouldn't it?
So it's lost its community, isn't
Yes.
it? You've got some beautiful properties here as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
So who's to blame? That's what I want to know. Who's to blame? So partly it's got to be the people that own the properties here, isn't it? So
Yeah.
A lot of these properties are National Trust properties,
Yeah.
and they give them over to holiday homes. Well, not holiday homes, they're holiday cottages, aren't they? You can book them, you can go onto the National Trust website and you can book a stay, can't you? It's a great helicopter.
I think we're going to be, yeah, the helicopter's going to be too noisy now. We'll be back in a sec. Anyway, helicopter's gone now.
Yeah.
So yes, the National Trust owns, I believe, 7 of these properties.
And how many did you say there were in total? In the village?
18.
Right, so that's a pretty high proportion, isn't it?
Yeah, and if they're all holiday homes, that's 7 houses. In my opinion, a holiday home isn't really a holiday home, it's just a house. It's the home is made by people.
Yeah. And
We like to just call it a holiday home,
and there's
don't we?
definitely 4 others that were owned by the same letting company or managed by the same
so
letting
that's
company.
11
isn't
of the 18
Yeah.
that we definitely know are holiday homes.
it? Yeah.
Can the other 7 on their own make a community? Well, you were saying who's to blame? Is the National Trust to blame for not renting these on a long-term basis, making more people come to the village and live here?
But it's supply and demand, isn't it? So it's easy to blame people like the National Trust and blame the people that own the properties that want to let them out and get an income from it, isn't it? But partly we're to blame.
Yeah.
Maybe not you and me. People maybe at home that want to come on holiday and go on the internet, don't they, and have a little look, and that looks pretty. We'll book that.
We'll book that.
We're just as guilty
Yeah,
as them, aren't
as
we?
the next man. We're not saying we're whiter than white.
We went up to Yorkshire this year.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we did. We booked a little Airbnb, and it was lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's what you do, isn't it? It's because that's what's happened with the internet coming in. It's easy now. You don't want to stay in a hotel, typically, do you? You don't want to perhaps be on a campsite. Some people do.
Yeah.
But a lot of people want to be in their own private space in their own little cottage, don't they?
Well, yeah, it gives you that much more independence of what you want to do, your own timetable. You can come and go at your own pace. You're not dictated to by this is what time breakfast is and this is what time dinner is. You can actually, if you want to, pitch up on the beach, have a barbecue. You are completely your own boss in a holiday house, holiday home.
Yeah. Anyway, I've got 2 solutions to this. I've not only got one solution, I've got 2 solutions. So my first solution would be that whenever a big company like the National Trust, or a company that, say, owns a lot of land and properties, like Duchy of Cornwall maybe is another big one, isn't it? I think that they should contribute some of the money they're making as profits, ring fence it into a fund, and then build periodically properties for locals.
That's
or
a
at
lovely
least
idea. Yeah.
let some of these properties go to the local community.
Yeah.
It's only fair, I think, at the end of the day. The second solution, and we went to Clovelly in Devon this year, and that was an eye-opener, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that is a private village.
Yes.
Completely private. You've got to pay to go in there to have a look around, which is a weird concept, but that's lived in. It's privately owned.
Yeah.
All the properties there are lived in by people that live there all the time, and they're vetted, aren't they, by the owners?
Yes, and not vetted in the sense that they're actually, it's just an interview to find out, can you actually tolerate loads and loads of people, tourists, walking outside your door, because it is obviously a tourist attraction. So it's really more of a conversation of what to expect, and can you put up with it, can you tolerate it.
But it shows that a local community can still flourish,
yes,
and live side by side with people that want to go there and enjoy a holiday experience, isn't it?
What you're saying really then is that the National Trust could take the 7 properties they own and do the Clovelly style long-term let and bring it back into the mainstream market, the housing market, that people can actually make a home. That'd be a lovely idea.
Basically, there aren't very many communities around the coast of it. They've all been forced inland. And it's because of the cost of the few properties that are around the coast. and most of them being let over for holiday lets and second homes, isn't it?
So this isn't a moan, it's just telling you the facts. It doesn't directly affect us, although our daughter's struggling to move out of home. She can't get a house of her own, can she? But it's not a moan, it's not meant to be a moan, it's just an observation.
I'm an older middle-aged man, I'm allowed to moan, it's what we do.
I'm not moaning. I forget him for moaning.
Yeah, address all the comments to me. Yeah. People won't believe this is December, it's the 2nd of December. I don't even know why I got this coat on, this is lovely. I could go for a dip.
Do you?
Why isn't the ice cream place open? This is lovely, isn't it? You need to come to Durgan. Book a holiday, it's really nice. Are we summing up?
I think we're finished,
We're done,
aren't
are we?
So that was a little tour around Durgan to try and figure out if anybody still lives here or if it's a completely empty village.
The village where no one lives.
Is it though?
Well, we've come here to have a good look today, innit? We thought it was.
But we have our doubts. We think there might be 1 or 2 people just left clinging on. Must be quite nice in winter.
For the benefit of a title on the YouTube video, I think we're going to go with the fact there's nobody here.
Nobody lives here. So until next time, we'll sign off for now. So bye.